Time is the most elusive, the most precious, and perhaps the most unforgiving of all the resources we possess. You can lose money, you can rebuild it. You can lose possessions, you can replace them. You can lose relationships, and though it may scar you, you might find others. But time, when it slips away, it never returns. And that is precisely why, in the realm of power, in the unspoken arenas where influence breathes, the mastery of time is not just a skill, it is an art form. An unflinching, unforgiving, delicate art form. Robert Greene, in his legendary work The 48 Laws of Power, enshrined this as Law 35, master the art of timing. And tonight, we're going to walk through the corridors of history, through the lessons of the powerful and the fallen, through the cunning and the clueless, as we unravel this law together. Now, if you've ever felt that frustration of a missed opportunity, or the weight of a moment you let slip because you were too hasty, or too hesitant, you've already brushed shoulders with the consequences of ignoring this law. Power, influence, leadership, they are not just about actions, they're about actions executed at precisely the right moment. And the person who can sense the shifting winds of fate, who can detect the faint tremors of opportunity before others do, is the one who holds the reins of control. Picture this, you're at a poker table. The stakes are high, faces are unreadable, and every player is bluffing as much as they're betting. What separates the champion from the fool is timing, knowing when to fold, when to call, and when to go all in. Life mirrors this exact dynamic. The business pitch, the romantic confession, the declaration of war, the signing of a peace treaty, all hinge on timing. Too soon and you're reckless. Too late and you're irrelevant. Let's talk about one of history's most brilliant tacticians of timing, Napoleon Bonaparte. A man of extraordinary ambition and military genius, but even he fell prey to the pitfalls of mistiming. His campaigns across Europe are masterclasses in seizing the moment, outmaneuvering larger forces, and exploiting fleeting advantages. Yet, it was his ill-timed invasion of Russia in 1812 that became his undoing. Had he waited, assessed the full might of the Russian winter, the stretched supply lines, and the morale of his troops, history might have written a different ending for the little emperor. But haste clouded his judgment, and in failing to respect the rhythm of time, he lost everything. Now, before you start thinking timing is purely about waiting, let me be clear, it's not about passivity. It's about awareness. It's about watching the tempo of a situation, reading the cues others miss, feeling the pulse beneath the surface chatter. It's knowing when to strike and when to hold back, when to speak and when silence will scream louder than words. In ancient China, a military strategist named Zhuge Liang, revered as one of the sharpest minds in the history of warfare, displayed timing like a maestro conducts a symphony. In one famous incident, with his army heavily outnumbered and vulnerable, he ordered the city gates opened and had his men sweep the streets as if everything were at ease. He then took position atop the city wall, calmly playing his guqin, a traditional string instrument. The opposing general, suspecting an ambush, withdrew his forces, sparing Zhuge Liang's army. It was a gamble, yes, but one calculated through an acute sense of timing, of understanding not just his enemy's mind but the moment's psychological tempo. You see, mastering timing often involves understanding the psychology of those around you. Power is relational. It exists in the gaps between people. And within those gaps, moments flare and fade. Recognizing the readiness of others, sensing fear, ambition, hesitation, or overconfidence, that's how you pick your moment. In our modern world, timing still governs everything. Think about technology companies. Apple's genius under Steve Jobs wasn't merely in innovation, it was in timing. The iPod wasn't the first MP3 player. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. But they entered the stage precisely when the market was ripe, when consumers were frustrated with existing products and hungry for something better. Jobs mastered the art of holding back until his product wouldn't just compete, it would redefine. And when he released it, the world shifted. And isn't that what we all crave in some way? The ability to shift the world, even if just a little. To steer a conversation, a relationship, a career, a movement. But without timing, even the boldest move falls flat. The comedian whose punchline comes a second too late, the entrepreneur who enters a market already saturated, the lover who confesses feelings when the other's heart has turned elsewhere, all casualties of mistimed ambition. Patience, then, is the cornerstone of mastering timing. And patience is not passive waiting, it is active observation. It's preparing your move, sharpening your skills, reading the signs, and holding back your urge to act prematurely. Power often belongs to those who can delay gratification, who can resist the intoxicating pull of the moment and wait for the one that truly matters. There's a parable often told in leadership circles about two wolves. One represents impatience, impulsiveness, hunger, ambition unchecked. The other represents patience, calm, observation, strategic restraint. The wolf you feed the most will define your fate. In the realm of power, those who feed impatience rarely live long in the upper echelons. Because while ambition propels you upward, timing determines whether you stay there. Consider the realm of politics, a brutal theater of timing. Abraham Lincoln, arguably one of history's greatest statesmen, was a master of it. He understood when to press an issue and when to let public sentiment ripen. His Emancipation Proclamation wasn't issued at the war's onset but after careful reading of the Union's position, the morale of the people, and the international climate. He waited until the moment when such a bold move would galvanize the North and cripple the Confederacy's hopes of foreign support. It was audacious, yes, but also impeccably timed. And so, as you navigate your own battles, be they in boardrooms, family dinners, personal ambitions, or artistic pursuits, ask yourself, what is the tempo here? Are you acting from impulse or insight? Is this the moment to move, or to wait? There's a quiet kind of power in patience, in watching the world rush by and knowing your moment hasn't yet arrived, and when it does, you'll be ready. I want to talk a little about mistakes in timing, because even the most seasoned players falter. The difference is in recovery. The truly powerful recognize a mistimed move not as a defeat, but as data. They don't double down on bad timing. They retreat, reassess, recalibrate. To master timing, you must cultivate the humility to admit when you've misjudged a moment. Ego is the great saboteur of timing. It convinces you that every moment is yours to command when, in truth, the world moves to a rhythm larger than any one person. In relationships, too, timing is crucial. The unsaid things we wish we'd voiced, the apologies delayed until they meant nothing, the opportunities missed because we were too afraid to act. Regret often stems not from actions, but from actions we hesitated upon. And sometimes, yes, the window closes forever. But other times, new windows open if we are vigilant, if we refuse to drown in self-pity and keep reading the room. The great chess masters understand this. A piece isn't powerful in and of itself. Its power lies in its position and in the timing of its movement. Move too early and you expose yourself. Move too late and you've lost the advantage. In that way, life is a board, endlessly shifting. And your awareness of its shifting states, your sensitivity to the unseen currents beneath people's words and actions, is what grants you leverage. And let's be honest, most people don't have this awareness. They blunder through conversations, decisions, and conflicts, driven by their emotions, oblivious to the tides around them. They speak when silence would serve them. They wait when action is needed. Which is precisely why those who master timing stand apart. Not because they're superhuman, but because they pay attention. That's the invitation Law 35 offers you, to become a student of patterns. Human behavior, market trends, personal moods, political climates, relationship dynamics, all operate on cycles. Those who bother to observe these cycles, who can sense the buildup of pressure and anticipate the breaking point, become the orchestrators rather than the audience. So tonight, I urge you to start small. Notice the flow of your conversations. Who dominates? When do people lean in, when do they pull back? At work, observe decision-making rhythms. Are choices made impulsively, or after a build-up? In your personal life, watch your own impulses. When do you feel the strongest urge to act, and is it rooted in clarity or anxiety? The mastery of timing begins here, with attention. And as your awareness sharpens, so too will your influence. Not because you've forced it, but because you've aligned yourself with the pulse of the moment. And when you do finally move, it will feel effortless, inevitable, and those around you will call it luck. But you will know better. Because power isn't about endless motion. It's about decisive motion at the right time. And so, as we wrap this episode, remember this: time is neutral. It is neither your enemy nor your ally. It is the canvas upon which you paint your influence. The masters don't rush their strokes. They wait, they watch, and when their brush meets the canvas, the world changes. Master the art of timing, and you master the art of power itself.